Part 25. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Ixie. Chapter 241. Chapter 241. I have liked Brother Chen for a long time. Pei Yuchen and Mrs. Jiao pointed to Li Moer's position. Madam, look, she is a shorter girl with a single ponytail. Yao Wei plugged in his headphones and listened to music. When he looked up, he found Mrs. Jiao and Pei Yuchen standing by the rest pavilion without moving. She also stood up. Mrs. Jiao's granddaughter is here? She was curious about who the kind old woman's granddaughter was. Coincidentally, at this moment, a person suddenly came out from behind and tapped her on the shoulder. Yi, I'm out. I know the person by hearing the sound. It's Gongqin Li. Ye Wei turned his head, and the two girls who were very close to each other hugged each other warmly. Li Yulai, you finally came out. Ouch, that teacher had to rush for an appointment, so he sent us away. Actually, there is one question I can't solve. Gongqin Li sighed repeatedly as she spoke. It is said that their math teacher had a quarrel with his girlfriend. He liked to give them difficult questions when he was in a bad mood and was not allowed to leave until he finished. They were unlucky to have crashed into the last class and were kept for so long. I'm so pitiful. I'll give you a hug and comfort you. My family is the best. The two of them have been like sisters since they were little, but now it takes a week to see each other, so naturally they miss them very much. Ye Wei looked back a few times and found that Mrs. Jiao and Pei Yuchen had already left. Gongqin Li knocked her on the head. What are you looking at? It's okay, let's go shopping. Come on, let's go, I'm treating you to your favorite meal today. The two held hands and planned to walk directly. Boom. The text message has arrived. Ye Wei opened it and found that he had received a multimedia message. The MMS contained several photos of a man and a woman walking side by side, with Yezikin on the side, and the caption, "Your boyfriend seems to have a new love." Ye Wei was dumbfounded the moment she received those photos. Her boyfriend? Yezikin? Have a new love? Ye Wei looked over the photo several times, and finally discovered that the girl next to Yezikin seemed to be Su Tangzi. Lu Li, tell me, if my brother is so good, what kind of girl would he like? Of course excellent people also like excellent people, just like you, the only one. Gongqin Li's answer was quite face-saving. Ye Wei covered her mouth and laughed. She is not good enough. She is studying hard now. She must pay close attention to her studies, fighting, and music. Looking at Su Tangzi's figure in the photo, she was also very envious. Gongqin Li noticed that the person next to her was walking and stopped in a daze. She stretched out her hand and pulled him. What are you looking at? You are so stupid. Look at the road. Someone sent me a multimedia message saying that Brother Chen has a new love. What's going on? Show me. As soon as Gongqin Li stretched out her hand, Ye Wei handed the phone to her without any reservation. As for why you are so candid? Of course it's because Ye is the only one who knows who the person who sent the photo is. Last time she deceived the girl who picked up Yezikin's cell phone. Only that girl would believe her and think she was Yezikin's girlfriend. So this photo was sent intentionally to disgust her. Gongqin Li recognized the identity at a glance. This is Su Tangzi. Hey, do you know him too? I know her. I met her several times when I played with Nangong Luo. She is interested in Brother Chen. You said she likes Brother Chen. Gongqin Li asked back, that's right, don't you know? She has liked Brother Chen for a long time. What skills would you like Xiao Lingdang to learn? Any suggestions? End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Ixie. Chapter 242. Chapter 242. Her eyebrows are similar to my son's. Pei Yuchen and Mrs. Jiao were not far away from Li Moer. Mrs. Jiao looked uncontrollably excited. For some reason, Mrs. Jiao thought of her granddaughter, and the face of Xiao Liao came to mind. I always felt that the look between her eyebrows was somewhat similar to the sun in her memory. Perhaps it was because Li Mo'er never looked back that Mrs. Xiao only saw the side profile and could not describe her specific appearance. Looking from the side, the figure is small. But Mrs. Xiao thought to herself, my lady must be well behaved. Originally, Li Mo'er and Ye Wei were about the same height, and Ye Wei was 1 or 2 centimeters taller than Li Mo'er. Unexpectedly, during the year when he skipped a grade from the 2nd to the 3rd grade of junior high school, Li Mo'er suddenly grew to 1.6 meters, and Li Mo'er is now 1.6 meters tall. He is only 1.56 meters tall. Yi Chen, let's go to the front and have a look. Mrs. Xiao was obviously not satisfied with just looking at the back. Pei Yuchen helped her speed up. At this time, a gorgeous car stopped next to Li Mo'er. Li Mo'er opened the door and got into the car. Pei Yuchen and Mrs. Xiao vaguely saw a woman dressed as a noble lady sitting in the front row of the car. Pei Yuchen whispered in Mrs. Xiao's ear, "Madam, that should be Mrs. Yejia." After the car door is closed, the car turns around and leaves. Although Mrs. Xiao was reluctant to leave, she also sighed, "I came to pick her up from school in person. It seems that the Ye family is really good to her. Madam, let's go back first. If you want to see it, I will arrange a time for you next time." All right. Pei Yuchen picked up the car. They also drove along the road leaving the school. Old Mrs. Xiao saw 2 young girls standing on the roadside through the window card. This is not a scene worth paying attention to, but one of them is the little girl she just met and whom she liked very much, Xiao Li. The roadside. After Gong Qinli told Ye Wei with certainty that Su Tangzi was her love rival, she comforted her by saying, "But that's all Su Tangzi's wishful thinking. Brother Chen won't like her." Ye Wei's expression was no longer as fearless as before, and she suddenly became alarmed. "Su Tangzi, did you get to play with Brother Chen and the others just because of games?" Nangong Luo said this, "They just get together to play games." "Li Yulai, do you know how to play?" When asked about the game, Gong Qinli shook her head helplessly, "I can't do it. I'm relatively weak." "Do you want to play?" "I want to learn more." Yezikin knows it, and she wants to learn it, maybe in this way she can get closer to him. "Ask Brother Chen to take care of you. Brother Chen is very busy, and I don't want to disturb him with this little thing." Speaking of which, Ye Wei still feels a little inferior. She has nothing, and is not particularly powerful in any aspect. Gong Qinli was also very considerate. He didn't hear her disappointed tone for a moment and gave her a recommendation, "Then look for Nangong Luo. He has a lot of fun every day and he has a lot of time." Nangong Luo is a second-generation rich man who eats, drinks and has fun all day long. Although he is not a prodigal, he does not live a rigorous life like Yezikin. Nangong Luo's learning is always half-baked, but in terms of mathematics, his sensitivity to numbers is beyond ordinary people's. Gong Qinli, who is very poor at mathematics, once commented, "Nangong Luo is a mathematics geek." Ye only laughed out loud with a puff. Suddenly a car stopped next to me. The car window opened, and Mrs. Xiao turned to greet Xiao Lian, "Little girl, we meet again." Huh. Ye Wei was slightly surprised. How about Mrs. Xiao invite them to get in the car and give them a ride? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 243. Chapter 243. Are you your descendants? Grandma, didn't you go to pick up your granddaughter? Ye Wei was a little curious. My granddaughter, she has something to do and she won't come with us. I think you are going out, So why not get in the car and give you a ride? Mrs. Jiao smiled kindly and spoke in a kind tone. Gong Qinli next to her stretched out her hand and pulled Ye Weiwei. What's going on? It's an old lady I just met, she's a very nice person. It's better to forget about taking the car, we just met. I know. Ye Weiwei smiled at Mrs. Jiao, but politely rejected her kindness. My friend and I have something to do, thank you grandma. Okay, Mrs. Jiao didn't force her. Seeing the little girl waving, she nodded and asked Pei Yuchen to drive away. Gong Qinli took her hand, bumped her gently, and said in a teasing tone, Yi, when I heard you call me grandma just now, it felt completely out of place. If you didn't know, I would have thought you were your biological grandparents' woolen cloth. Really? Ye Weiwei asked casually, but did not take the words to heart. Ye Weiwei has been separated from his blood relatives for many years, and since he has never had them, he will not be too sad. He only said, but I have never met my grandma. I don't even know if there are any other blood relatives in the world besides my aunt. Then why don't you ask your Aunt Jiao Anyun, although she and your father are not compatriots, she may know something. No need, the elders don't want to come to me, why should I go to her? Ye Weiwei thought very openly. When my father was still alive, he had never met his grandma several times. I heard that her grandma hugged her when she was very young, but she had no memory of that at all. If grandma was willing to recognize her, she would have found her long ago. Wouldn't it be a waste of trouble for her, a junior who doesn't understand the grievances of the previous generation, to find her? The only thing Ye thinks now is, anyway, if my aunt is willing to recognize me, that's enough. Although Jiao Anyun was not close to her, he had never treated her badly. The food and clothing are not high quality, but they are not ordinary either. She kept careful records of all her expenses from the beginning, hoping that one day she would return the favor to her aunt. Gong Qinli said of her, they say you are simple and don't think about anything. In fact, your mind is much more open-minded than the average person. It seems like you are not striving for anything, but you are working very hard to make yourself more perfect. This kind of night is unique, exuding its own unique charm. Forget it, don't forget our mission today. The two of them didn't get serious for a long time, and they started to play and laugh together again, and went shopping to choose gifts. Gifts to elders can be complex at times, or simple at times. Gong Qinli's grandfather likes to write, so he bought a set of 4 treasures of the study room. I feel so sorry for my private money, she said she felt distressed, but she bought the best things for her grandfather. Yet is the only one who sees through things without telling them. Suddenly mentioned, I have a roommate whose birthday is coming soon, and I also want to prepare a gift. Anyway, he is out today, so let's stop by and take a look. Gong Qinli nodded and asked casually, what does your roommate like? Ye Weiwei answered without hesitation, books, she likes to read. That's right, the only roommate Ye Yu refers to is Shen Nianan. The best place to buy books, Book City. I went straight to the high school books area, and the cabinets full of books were overwhelming. Gong Qinli was dazzled, I get scared when I see the book. She backed up and bumped into a boy picking up a book next to her. Ouch. I heard that you want to see the sub-CP. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 244. Chapter 244 Love at First Sight, Love Again. Gong Qinli's hands hit the bookshelf and her feet slipped, and she fell backwards. Someone supported her waist. A male voice came from above, are you okay? No, it's okay. Gong Qinli quickly broke away from the man's hand and thanked her smoothly, thank you. Ye Weiwei put down the book and held Gong Qinli firmly, Li Yulai, be careful. The boy looked directly at Gong Qinli and replied, you're welcome. As soon as the boy opened his mouth, Ye Weiwei looked up and recognized his identity, hey, it's classmate Meng Ziyi. Meng Ziyi pushed up his glasses and nodded in greeting. Squad leader Chiao, what a coincidence. You two know each other. Gong Qinli's fingers lingered on the two of them and she chuckled. Ye Weiwei explained, yes, Meng Ziyi is the top student in our freshman year of high school, number one in the school. For students, you may not know who is second or third in grade, but names like first are often mentioned by teachers. Although they are not in the same class, Ye Weiwei, as the senior of the class, will occasionally come into contact with these top students, especially in the teacher's office where they often meet. I don't know him very well, but I will say hello when I meet him. Meng Ziyi, thank you so much. Because Ye Weiwei knew both of them, she also thanked her again on Gong Qinli's behalf. Sits. Meng Ziyi's eyes turned to Gong Qinli and said to Ye Weiwei, this classmate looks familiar. Wouldn't class leader Chiao introduce me to him? Ha, this is my friend Gong Qinli, who is still in the third grade of junior high school. Gong Qinli, Meng Ziyi repeated the name softly. The two of them looked a little strange when they saw him. Meng Ziyi suddenly showed kindness to Gong Qinli. Mr. Gong, did you go to Maple Leaf Elementary School when you were a child? Gong Qinli's eyes lit up. Hey. Yes, how do you know? Gong Qinli's parents were still around when she was a child, so they sent her to an ordinary elementary school. Later, when she was in junior high school, her parents went abroad to do scientific research, so they sent her to a junior high school in an aristocratic college that was excellent in all aspects. Do you still remember Meng Ziyi, who was at the same table with you for 3 years, in the same class as you for 4 years, and in the same school as you for 5 years? Gong Qinli frowned and scratched her head. Suddenly her pupils dilated and she said in surprise, I remembered that I had a classmate named Meng Ziyi in elementary school. He was a top student. He skipped a grade later, right? Meng Ziyi's eyes flashed with the moonlight, and his gold-rimmed glasses looked a bit elegant. Well, if you think about it, I am very lucky. Meng Ziyi grew up slowly, and he and Gong Qinli shared the same table for 3 years. However, the boys grew taller than the girls, so they switched places. Because of his good academic performance, his parents asked him to skip the 5th grade directly, so he and Gong Qinli were only classmates for 4 years. But these 5 years were enough to impress him. When she was a child, Gong Qinli always dreamed of being a heroic heroine. At that time, Meng Ziyi thought she was a very interesting classmate and partner. When Meng Ziyi grew up, he accidentally saw Gong Qinli teaching a lesson to thieves who stole things on the road, and taught a lesson to the who did not respect their elders. Only then did he realize that Gong Qinli lived such a colorful life. It seems that she is really colorful and dazzling. Originally I admired them, but in adolescence, I always liked people who were ignorant of emotions a little more. He always remembered Gong Qinli and liked her more and more. We met by chance in the book city just now, and we both came to the high school information area. He took action in time to save Gong Qinli. Meng Ziyi felt that he should appear and let Gong Qinli get to know him again. Li Yuli's relationship is a bit ups and downs. You can't guess who will fall in love with her. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 245. Chapter 245. Meeting Grandma Chiao again at the roast duck restaurant. Meng Ziyi took advantage of the situation and asked, you two are buying materials here. Do you need any recommendations? Actually, we are buying a gift for Shen Nianan. Meng Ziyi, you are a top student, so I just recommend it. Shen Nianan, when he heard the name, Meng Ziyi's eyes suddenly smiled, and his face became a little stiff. It was just that Ye Weiwei and Gong Qinli were studying the book and didn't find those details. Her birthday is coming soon, so I want to buy some books for her. Can you recommend them? Meng Ziyi glanced at the bookcase and accurately picked out a few books. I come here often and am familiar with it. These are basically the corresponding books at this stage. Thank you. Meng Ziyi pushed up his glasses habitually and said, "It doesn't matter. After all, we are old acquaintances. It's rare to meet a classmate from elementary school, and he helped me a lot. Thank you so much." Gong Qinli was very thoughtful. She really felt like meeting her classmates from elementary school, which was a bit novel. Hearing what she said, Meng Ziyi's resistance to Shen Nianan was instantly wiped away. Leaving the book city, Ye Wei was still talking to Gong Qinli about Meng Ziyi. "I didn't expect you, Li Yulai, to have been classmates with Meng Ziyi, our school Suan Xiuba, for 5 years. It's amazing." Gong Qinli hummed and smiled, "You are all top academics, and you all skipped a grade. Thinking about me still in the 3rd grade of junior high school makes me feel very heartbroken." Ye Wei doesn't care. She asked Gong Qinli, "Didn't you say you wanted to go abroad after graduating from the high school entrance examination?" Gong Qinli also nodded and admitted, "My parents said so." "Then do you want to go out?" "Of course I don't want to. How can I get used to going abroad? But my parents insist on me going out, so I will go. Anyway, Nangong Luo is over there, so I don't need to be alone." "Oh, brother Nangong is with you." Ye Wei deliberately winked at her with his right eye. "That's enough for you to wonder. You crossed your arms, as if you were very frightened. What are you doing? The only thing you have is that look in your eyes." Ye Wei quickly stuck out his tongue at her. Gong Qinli looked around and suddenly saw the old roast duck restaurant opposite, so she took advantage of the green light and ran forward. "Li Yulai, why are you in such a hurry? An old brand of roast duck restaurant, let's go in and buy one. We can play at my house tonight. They have been running this BJ roast duck restaurant for many years. The business is booming and there is an endless stream of customers." Gong Qinli threw everything in her hands to Ye Wei, pushed her away, and instructed her boldly, "You go and wait aside, I will queue up." "Okay, I understand." Ye Wei sat in the waiting area holding a shopping bag. The other side. Pei Yuchen accompanied Mrs. Jiao to this old BJ roast duck restaurant. "Let me tell you, my son loved eating this roast duck when he was a child. His family was not rich back then." Mrs. Jiao revisited her old place because she missed her son and wanted to experience everything he liked again. Mrs. Jiao still remembers that when she was raising her children, she would always come to this restaurant to buy roast duck. With the changes of the times, the decoration of these places has changed, but I don't know if the taste has changed. Mrs. Jiao is now just like an ordinary old parent, talking to Pei Yuchen next to her about everything about her son. "Old madam, you go and sit over there for a while, and I'll queue up to buy it for you." "Okay, okay. There are a lot of people here. You go and line up first, and I'll go there by myself." Mrs. Jiao is actually in her early 60s and has a fairly strong body. She said she wanted to go by herself, and Pei Yuchen had nothing to worry about. "We're about to bump into each other again. Thanks to Moranzio for the reward." Menmo posted a sketch of Brother Chen in the book review area. Brother Chen will be coming back for a walk on the Chinese Valentine's Day. By the way, are there many hidden painting masters who read the Chinese Valentine's Day book? Recommend a nice modern novel, Gu Qiankaiu's The Sweet Wife is Too Sweet, a paranoid young master, addicted to pampering, quality guaranteed. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 246. Chapter 246, My ears are red and my hands are soft. Alas. Mrs. Jiao looked at the long queue at the roast duck restaurant and sighed deeply. Mrs. Jiao walked out of the waiting area, but the last seat was also occupied. Ye Wei happened to look up at Gong Qinli, who was queuing up, and met Mrs. Jiao's eyes unexpectedly. "Grandma," Ye Wei shouted in surprise. Mrs. Jiao was also overjoyed. Little girl. We are really destined. The only person who saw Mrs. Jiao standing alone that night asked casually, are you here to buy something? Mrs. Jiao pointed in the direction of Pei Yuchen, my assistant is waiting in a long queue over there. Then come and sit. No, 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 even though I'm old, I'm still strong. It's okay, you can sit down. Yeah, I stood up on his own initiative and insisted on giving up his seat. Mrs. Jiao saw that she was enthusiastic and kind-hearted, so she no longer refused. Are you waiting for someone here too? My friend is also queuing up to buy something there. To be honest, when I see you, I think of my granddaughter and feel very close to you. Really, I have never met my grandma, but I also think you are quite kind. Ye Wei thought that if her grandma were still alive, maybe she would look like this old man. But this grandma loves her granddaughter very much, but her grandma has never even appeared in her life. But I feel sorry for my granddaughter, and now I just want to make it up to her. For some reason, Mrs. Jiao felt that when she saw this little girl, she felt a desire to talk. Yao Wei smiled slightly. By the way, you said your granddaughter is also in the 3rd grade of junior high school. Who is she? Her name is. Just when Mrs. Jiao was about to say her name, a shout from the side interrupted her. Jiao Lian. Familiar names, familiar voices. The only person who looked back in the night was Shen Nianan, who was wearing a store uniform with BJ roast duck printed on it. Anan, so you are doing work here? Yes. Ye Wei didn't expect that he would meet so many special people when he went out today. After talking to Shen Nianan, he found out that Shen Nianan had relatives working here. He was willing to help her because of her family situation and let her work part-time here on weekends. Earn money to buy books. After chatting for a few words, someone called Shen Nianan's name. Shen Nianan responded and asked Jiao Li, are you here to buy something? Well, I came here with my friend, and my friend was lining up over there. Looking at the team with more than a dozen people, Shen Nianan went in and let her go through the back door. When Shen Nianan let her in and handed her the packaged roast duck, Ye Wei couldn't help but pay the money. Gong Qinli was happy that she didn't have to queue, and she thanked Shen Nianan enthusiastically, thank you. I heard that you are roommates with our little one, well, our little Jiao Lian. I hope you will take more care of her at school in the future. 2 little girls of the same age have invisibly strengthened their friendship. Ye Wei looked at Mrs. Jiao, who was still sitting in the waiting area, and begged Shen Nianan to do another favor. Shen Nianan made an okay gesture. Ye Wei originally wanted to go and tell Mrs. Jiao herself. Ye Zikan called suddenly. Shen Nianan handed the roast duck to Mrs. Jiao, my friend named Jiao Lian asked me to give this to you, and I paid for it. Ye Zikan's call was very simple, but Ye Wei couldn't care about other people anymore. He only said one sentence in his deep magnetic voice, little Belle, wait for me at home. Ye Wei's ears turned red and his hands became soft. As the end of the month approaches, the sign-in post in the book review area will select people to send red envelopes again. Kaibao people should be diligent in signing in and leaving messages. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 247. Chapter 247 Confrontation between love rivals. Ye Wei opened the door and vaguely heard noises in the living room. Brother Chen, she ran in happily. But she saw Su Tangzi sitting elegantly in her living room, holding a white porcelain cup in her hand. How active my heart was before, now it feels so heavy, as if a person who was about to enter the heaven of light was suddenly pushed into the abyss of darkness. Sitting in the spacious living room is a woman who does not belong to this family. The point is, when Su Tangzi saw Ye Wei appear at the door, he calmly put down the teacup in his hand and spoke in a tone like the hostess of this apartment. "Hey, the only one is back." Ye Wei endured a lot of discomfort in his heart, changed his shoes and went in, and called out sweetly, "Sister Su." Su Tangzi responded, turned to look at the side room, and said to her, "Your brother is in the study." Ye nodding, Ye Wei was not in a hurry. She turned to Su Tangzi and asked, "Isn't Sister Su going to school in G City? Come with your brother when he comes back, I will come back." This sentence feels like a husband singing and a wife accompanying each other. Ye Wei grinned slightly, "Sister Su, isn't your school great? I will also take the exam to Brother Chen's school in the future, and I can see you then." She showed her longing unabashedly. Su Tangzi paused slightly, "Although I'm glad that you are the only one who has the ambition to be admitted to our school, it requires more effort. And when you go to college, it's time for your brother and I to step into the society and take over the family business." This statement means something. Yet is the only one who is not stupid, she can hear it. Su Tangzi just told her tactfully that with her ability, it would be difficult for her to even get into Yezikin's university. Even if she did, she wouldn't be well matched to follow in Yezikin's footsteps. But she won't give up. Brother said he would wait for me to grow up. Oh, let's not talk about this anymore, I'm going to find my brother. Ye Wei ran into the study in a hurry. Su Tangzi looked at her back and hesitated to speak. The reason why she was sitting in the living room was just because Yezikin said that the study was a private area and was inconvenient for others to enter. And Ye Wei seems to be able to do whatever he wants. Su Tangzi picked up the tea on the table again and took a sip, only to realize that the tea was cold after leaving. Tisk, she is the dignified eldest daughter of the Su family. How could you regard a little girl with no hair as a powerful enemy? Ye Wei opened the study door without any scruples, but she deliberately lowered her voice, walked around behind Yezikin with cat steps, and covered his eyes with her hands. "Guess who I am?" Little fool, the gentle voice at that moment was like jade beads falling on a jade plate. Having known that his identity had been exposed, Ye Wei let out a soft grunt and let go of his hand, pouting dissatisfiedly, "Why are you swearing?" Yezikin chuckled and turned back to look at some information on the bookcase. Ye Wei leaned over and shouted, his voice sweet. "Elder brother. Why are you back so soon?" "Because I wanted to see my brother as soon as possible, I came back soon." "Doesn't my brother not want to see me?" "How could it be? If you don't want to see her, you won't rush to call her after getting off the plane." Ye Wei laughed so much that he couldn't stop laughing. Seeing him looking for something, he volunteered to apply for help. Yezikin stopped her. "No, just go and greet the guests." "Guest? You mean Sister Su?" Ye Wei pointed to the living room. Yezikin curled his lips and asked, "Otherwise there is a fourth person?" "Sister Su said she came back with you, does she want to stay here? Have you got any ideas on what you can do to make Brother Chen and Xiao Lingdang infinitely sweet in a short period of time? The very sweet kind?" End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 248. Chapter 248, Unprepared for Her. Won't. Yezikin said Su Tangzi would not stay, but in the end the three of them went to the restaurant. "Yezikin, I remember you like this dish." Su Tangzi took it upon herself to put a tick after the name of a dish. Ye Wei blinked and added, "Sister Su, you remembered wrong. This is my favorite food. Order." An unintentional spark burst out between Su Tangzi and Ye Wei. Then this dish is very flavorful but not too spicy, it's very good. Sister Sue, there is celery in this dish, and Brother Chen doesn't like it. Su Tangzi paused slightly, feeling a little embarrassed when he was exposed without hesitation. Let's make these meatballs, rice-based ingredients. Su Tangzi thought to herself, there are no taboos about rice ingredients. Sister Sue, there is sugar in these meatballs, which makes them a bit sweet, my brother doesn't like them. Su Tangzi was completely speechless. No matter which dish she chooses, Ye Yi can always find the mistake. Su Tangzi thought that Ye Ziwei was deliberately looking for trouble. But when he looked up, he saw that she had a pair of big, dark, beautiful eyes, as clear and bright as stars, without any aggression at all. Su Tangzi couldn't say anything he was holding in his mouth. She felt that she might have thought too much and actually thought that Ye Yi, who was described as cowardly, had scheming intentions. But then I thought about it and thought that I really didn't understand Yezican, and Ye Wei had lived and ate with Yezican for many years, so he must be right. My only sister, please have some. I don't have any taboos, just do it according to your and your brother's preferences. How is that possible? Since it is my brother who is inviting me to dinner, Sister Sue is a guest and should be treated like a guest. I will only order after Sister Sue has finished ordering. Ye is the only one who can make sense. Su Tangzi couldn't resist and chose 2 dishes at random. Ye Wei got the menu and checked out a few items at a glance. Su Tangzi secretly wrote down the names of the dishes, thinking that there must be some dishes that Yezican liked. Aren't you going to let Yezican order it? No need, I like all the brothers I like, right, Brother Chen? Yes, not bad. They have lived together since childhood and have similar tastes, but they will not eat anything that the other party is taboo about. Su Tangzi seemed to be showing off her face. Had she not known that they were siblings, the only one would have been her fierce rival that night. Ye Wei ate little and quickly, filling his stomach quickly. Logically speaking, one should not play with mobile phones at the dinner table, but she was bored, and such a casual gathering did not require any etiquette. Brother Chen, Brother Nangong invited me to play games. My phone is about to run out of battery. I can borrow yours. For you. Yezican handed over the phone without any scruples. Su Tangzi clearly saw that after Ye Wei got the phone, she just pressed her thumb on the screen to unlock it. That's when Yezican entered Ye's unique fingerprint into his mobile phone. These 2 people are really wary of each other. Boom. Just when Ye was about to open the game, a text message popped up at the top of the screen. Brother Chen, someone sent a message. What did you say? The project planning document, I can't understand it. It's okay, you can continue playing the game. How many people can now hand over their mobile phones to another person without any scruples? Su Tangzi felt very uncomfortable. Yezican, you can safely tell the news to the only one, just in case it's important. Yezican raised the corners of his lips slightly. What does it have to do with it? Su Tangzi, why are you here to eat? You are here to eat dog food. Kixi, how is this operation going? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 249. Chapter 249. Brother, save me. It doesn't matter if you see something you shouldn't see. Su Tangzi didn't believe it. Yezican really didn't hide anything from Ye Wei. It's good that she's happy when talking about someone. Her eyes and voice soften unconsciously, and her cold, obsidian eyes are tinged with warmth. Yezican turned his head and saw the little girl sitting obediently next to him. He lowered his voice and shouted, "Little Belle." Acridine, she raised her head, heard the sound of being killed in English, looked down at the screen, and screamed pitifully, Ah, my hero died again. But her voice was very low, and she would not disturb anyone even in a private room. But every move she makes. The round and white fingers are clumsily operating on the screen, frowning in annoyance and pouting in grievance when being killed by the enemy, clenching fists and rubbing ears when struggling. These all happened inadvertently, and all the reactions were so natural and lovely. Su Tangzi found that such little girls are most likely to arouse men's desire for protection and are the most cherished. What a pity, Brother Nangong could have saved me just a little bit. It feels very pity to kill the enemy when she has only a trace of health left. Su Tangzi chuckled and said, the only thing is, you still have to practice more on your own when playing games. Ye Wei nodded in agreement, I know it too, but I'm just too stupid and my progress is very slow. Yezikin suddenly reached out and rubbed her long hair that was not in her shawl. His white jade-like arm went around her shoulders and took away the mobile phone in her hand. The clear voice allowed no refutation, I'll do it. The rookie is suddenly replaced by a boss. Nangong Luo, who noticed the signs, laughed loudly, those dogs opposite are bullying my only sister, boss, you must torture her back. Ha, Yezikin smiled coldly, killing everyone along the way. Yayoi originally sat and watched the battle. The more he watched, the more excited he became. He stood up and lay down on Yezikin's seat, brother, this is how I use my skills. Why is there no lethality? Damn it! I teach you. Ye Wei followed Yezikin's instructions, but he still often made mistakes. Ouch, I accidentally pressed the wrong skill. Silly goose. Even though he is scolding, who can't hear the obvious doting in his tone? Su Tangzi still remembers Yezikin's frivolous and arrogant attitude when he showed up at the SE bar to participate in the competition. When others asked him for guidance, he never said much. Even if others said he was selfish, he could calmly reply, what does it have to do with me? Later, they formed a team. Yezikin is willing to give some guidance, but if someone makes a mistake under his guidance, the reprimand will be sharp and serious. She always thought that Yezikin was such a rigorous person when he was serious, and could not tolerate any flaws. But everything in front of her denied her knowledge. It's not that Yezikin doesn't understand gentleness. It just depends on who it is for. You really want to pamper her to no end. After a round, it was inconvenient for them to stay in the restaurant. Packed up their belongings and the three of them walked out of the private room together. Yeziwei happily waved goodbye to Su Tangzi, bye-bye, Sister Su. Goodbye. Yeziwei lowered her head and stuck out her tongue. She didn't want to say words like goodbye. Yeziwei grabbed Yezikin's arm and said something while walking. Pei Yuchen walked into the restaurant. The three of them passed each other. Pei Yuchen turned around and saw only the backs of the two of them. He recognized that man, he was the heir of the Ye family. But the girl next to her seems to be the little girl the old lady has met. Thanks to the cute little Xiaoji and Gu Mulan for the reward. Well, you said the little bell is too innocent, and you said White Lotus is too scheming. Kixi, I don't know what you want from the little bell. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 250. Chapter 250 Brother, my hand. Pei Yuchen found some clues. That little girl named Jiao Lian, they bumped into each other many times from this afternoon to evening. I know the young master of the Ye family, and my surname is Jiao. What's going on? Today I heard Mrs. Jiao talk about her granddaughter the most, but starting from the afternoon, every time Mrs. Jiao praised her granddaughter, she compared her with Jiao Li. The reason why Mrs. Jiao is now called Jiao is not because of the first husband she married, but because the current husband has the same surname as the previous one and is called Jiao. However, this is too fateful. Pei Yuchen secretly noted it down and decided to go back and check it again. After eating and drinking, Ye Wei created some very romantic plots, Such as, the two people with acute height difference were walking hand in hand on the bright and shining streets, and the time was quiet. Meow meow. Suddenly a small cat meowed from the flower bed on the side of the road. Ears twitching, Ye Wei stopped and looked at the flower bed, and found a white kitten squatting on the tiles that separated the flower bed. Although it is white, the hair on the upper body has become dirty. The meow sound lacks energy. The pair of dark green eyes that glowed at night looked particularly mysterious. She pulled Yezikin's hand, pointed at the white cat and said, "There is a kitten." She had some intentions of touching it, but Yezikin wouldn't allow it. Wild cats can catch people. Yezikin's voice was low. Ye Wei raised his head and stared at him with black eyes. The cat has a collar around its neck. It should have been raised by someone else, but why is it like this now? Girls generally feel a little fond of this petite animal. The cat's condition is not very good now, and there is always a sense of pity in my heart. Ye Wei has never had a cat or touched a cat. But she now has a roommate who loves cats very much and often shares pictures and stories about cats in the dormitory. So now that I have seen it, I will pay more attention to it. Seeing that the cat seemed to be scratching the collar around its neck with its claws, she thought of something she had shared before, that is, some collars are poisonous, and some collars can strangle the neck. In short, it's a very scary thing for the poor kitten. Brother Chen, I'm going to take a look. Don't touch it. I'll pay attention. Yewei came a little closer, but Yezikin still protected her. After confirming that the cat was indeed not aggressive, Yewei stepped forward. She just touched the cat's fur and looked at it. The collar was not strangling its neck. I didn't see anyone else looking for the cat around. And Yewei was not so kind as to want to take the cat back and raise it. Seeing how weak and painful the cat was now, Yewei sighed, I don't understand, I just feel so pitiful about the little kitten. Yezikin told her, there is a pet shop nearby. Yewei's eyes lit up, I thought I saw a pet shop when I came here just now. Let's make a call. Searched the area online and found the number of the pet shop. Yezikin called and asked someone to pick up the cat, and of course she paid for it. Yezikin took out disinfectant wipes from Yewei's backpack and wiped her fingers. The gentle and careful behavior made Yewei feel happy in her heart. But she quickly frowned and couldn't help but scratch the itch on the back of her hand. Some red spots gradually appeared on the back of the hand. Very itchy. Brother, my hand. It's over, what happened to the little bell? End of this chapter.